Alright, I'm here to take a quick look at the Sega Dreamcast. It's a system that really has like a cult following. Like, there's so many people working towards making your gaming experience unofficially better than what it was when the Dreamcast first came out. It's just, the homebrew community is amazing. A big part in the Dreamcast is emulation. And there's so many consoles emulated on the Dreamcast itself. One of the big ones is GEO. One of my favorite arcade games of all time, Metal Slug. I mean, just a great side-scrolling shooter. A Super Nintendo runs pretty well. Original Nintendo, original NES runs full speed, 100% perfect. Here is the Dreamcast startup screen. Another thing that's very interesting that I will show first is the Dreamcast ability to play PlayStation 1 games. Little people know about this. The Bleamcast project was a beta, and it was a project that got terminated, I think due to copyright problems with Sony, but it allows the Dreamcast to play PlayStation 1 games. A lot of times there's problems with it because the original PlayStation 1 controller had much more buttons than the Sega Dreamcast controller. But sometimes you could work through it. But for example, a game that plays well is one of my favorite PlayStation games, Armored Core. And just as a quick demo, you'll see it boot into the well-known PlayStation screen here. And yes, this isn't a joke. Like I said, Bleamcast was an unofficial project, or an official project that was ended due to copyright problems. But this is the original Armored Core for PlayStation. Plays pretty flawless for being played on a console that it wasn't intended for. I actually paused it to show one of my favorite emulators for the Dreamcast, which is Nestor DC. Runs at pretty much 100% on all games, perfect graphics. We're going to do a quick reboot here. And we don't want to run Bleamcast because this is a Dreamcast game. This emulator is pretty great. One downfall is you have to keep going and swapping discs, which is something else pretty interesting. I'll make a video on that. I actually ordered a SD card adapter for the Sega Dreamcast that plugs into the data transfer port or the serial port or whatever you want to call it that's on the back of the Dreamcast. Originally intended for like a link cable, like for two-player games using two consoles on different televisions. But it's pretty cool. This is has its own operating system that boots from a CD called Dream Shell, and it basically enables you to use Dreamcast hardware that most games didn't allow you to use. Like Dream Shell allows you to use the SD card adapter, which once I get it in, I'm going to load all my emulators onto one SD card. But this is Nestor DC on the Dreamcast. And just so you can, you believe me, there's my Dreamcast. You see the power light. There's my controller. And we are going to browse the library. I'm having some problems with my tripod here. the Nestor DC library. You can change the view the cover of the original game, which is pretty cool. You could view the cartridge, which I prefer. I don't know, I kind of feel like it's a more authentic experience, but just as a quick demo, if I could find, there we go. Everybody loves Mario. Who doesn't love Mario? And you can see that it doesn't fill up the whole screen of my TV because it's set up for like an original, you know, square tube TV, and obviously the Dreamcast doesn't even support widescreen, but you can tweak settings in the emulator to stretch the picture out to a full screen mode, which I usually do, but just didn't think about. But this is Nestor DC on the Sega Dreamcast. Crazy enough, somebody actually ported a Nintendo 64 emulator to the Dreamcast, but obviously doesn't run at full speed, unfortunately. The next thing I'm going to show you is the Metal Slug on Dreamcast using the Neo Geo emulator, Neo for All. I've always loved Metal Slug, hand-drawn art, just a great game. Fast-paced, shoot 'em up. You know, sometimes I like a game that requires thought and a little bit of work to complete. And, you know, thought capacity in that sense. But sometimes you just need to play a game where you run around and kill every single thing you see. It's just necessary sometimes, you know, take out some anger. And I suck, I died. No big deal. I'm trying to play with actually the camera directly in front of me so I can have a good angle on the TV, but it's not great for playing games.
Thank you. Heavy machine gun. Flame shot. Thank you. Heavy machine gun.
Hope that my battery holds out here. And the Sega Dreamcast, like I said, you need to pick one up. You can get them now for dirt cheap, $30 at a used game store. So many different systems emulated onto the console. Like I said, Neo Geo, original Nintendo, Super Nintendo, obviously Sega Genesis. I have the emulator, but I didn't pull it out for this video. And another great thing is that games on the Dreamcast were on regular CDRs, so there's no mod chip needed to play burnt games. Like, you can just rip ISOs, burn them straight to a blank CD, and it's the same thing for homebrew things and emulators. Like, there's Power Stone, there's the Bleamcast CD, the boot CD that you have to load in before you load in an actual PlayStation game. If anybody has any questions about anything, let me know, and I'll message them back or comment back and give you tips. There's plenty of communities out there and websites that let you know how to do things on the Dreamcast. A few of my favorite games are Power Stone, Wetrix, Propeller Arena, Bango, But like I said, I mainly use my Dreamcast for emulation purposes, like breaking out all my old NES games and Super Nintendo games. Right there, all the games on one disc. It's fantastic. I'm going to do another video soon that's going to outline the uses behind the SD adapter for the Sega Dreamcast, which I was telling you about, that you could access your SD card through the operating system called Dream Shell for your Sega Dreamcast. I'll also be doing a video on some applications, because I just recently jailbroke my iPad, and also my Panasonic 3DO, just chilling down there. It's down there too. I will be doing a video on that, and thank you for watching.